You cannot afford to miss a single moment of the next hour. Get ready to have your ideas about sexuality, love, and relationships blown wide open. It's time to get educated, entertained, and enlightened, as well as sexually empowered. You have now tuned into the Tantra Love, Sex, and Intimacy Show. Now, here's your host, Tanya Diamond.
Now, I would be laughing, except that I'm on a binge. So I'm busy stuffing my face and eating.
On a binge?
Yeah.
A doctor-prescribed binge.
And I'm on a binge, yeah. Can you, how cool is that?
Doctor says, go ahead and eat as much as you want for the next 2 days.
Not only eat as much as you want, you must.
You must eat how many calories?
Almost force feed as much high fat and high sugar as you can get.
Oh, your liver's
going
to love that.
I am so burnt out. I went and bought a whole bunch of donuts and all this stuff, and I'm just looking at them like, you're kidding me, right?
Right.
My body's obviously at my high set point.
Mm-hmm.
It's not interested in any more.
Mm-hmm. And the doctor's saying more.
Right. And you wonder, why? Why is she going?
Wow.
What is she doing? All right. You guys will see. We'll talk about it at some point, but I'm headed for a metabolic reset. I'm on a metabolic reset program.
Metabolic reset program.
Yeah. Now, and I have to be one of the only women in the world who has to ask her man, honey, so when my butt doesn't look this big anymore, will you still love me?
Well,
yeah. See, that's a big deal. He's wandering around going, oh, man.
You know, so long as you maintain that certain shape.
Right, exactly. You know, so I think that's really great to be able to ask your man these kind of questions.
I've ventured to say that man's going to be satisfied with you no matter what you present him.
Maybe so.
He's that kind of guy.
Yeah, he's that kind of guy. He's easily satisfied?
No. He appreciates your qualities.
Oh, there we go. Isn't that great? And, that's a great thing in a man. Men should appreciate the woman's qualities that they're with. Mm-hmm. So anyway, yeah. So I'm busy stuffing my face. So you should probably be doing all the talking because I've got to eat every moment of every second.
You've got so many calories per minute you
I
have
know.
to get.
It's like all laid out across here.
I brought cookies for you. I always try to bring chocolate or something.
So now this is our first show. Technically, we haven't actually been here for a couple weeks. We had a few pre-records there that we did.
Well, no matter what, this is our first of the year because it's
Hey, Happy New Year, everybody!
Happy New Year!
Woohoo! And do you get ever tired of hearing that?
Hearing Happy New Year?
Yeah.
Well, it's one of those things. What'd you do for your New Year? Chilled out. Okay, what'd you do for your New Year? Oh, got together with people. I can sort of say, hey, Happy New Year. I heard you got together with a bunch of folks, chilled out, had a good time.
Right.
Just tell them what they experienced.
Well, yeah, I know. What'd you do for your New Year, Billy?
I didn't do a whole lot. I mean, I had to work at 6 a.m. the next morning.
Right.
Congratulations. Where were you working?
Over at another radio station.
Wow. Yeah, so you had to run the recorded shows that everybody did for the holidays.
That's exactly it.
Yeah.
Thank you for your service.
Hey, you know what? As long as my paycheck still comes in, I'm not going to complain.
That's
There's so many
important.
people that are, don't have jobs.
Yeah.
No, that's very true.
Yeah,
so
gratitude.
This whole thing about New Year's is almost like weddings and sex.
New Year's, weddings, and sex?
What do they have in common?
Everybody asks how it was for you.
Well,
how's your wedding?
That.
How's your sex life? How was your New Year's?
Yeah. Expectation.
Everybody gets them once a year? Expectation.
Expectation, yeah.
Wait, I'm on the wrong track here, I think. Let me rewind.
Yeah.
So expectation. Everybody expects.
The New Year's. Ooh, it's New Year's Eve. Woo-hoo. Whoa. You're going to bust it out and do some amazing thing. It's going to be like.
And if you don't do something amazing, you should be depressed.
Right. And people
look at you
like,
sad.
You did what? You went to bed at 10?
Yeah.
What's up with that?
Yeah.
Your wedding, another one of those days that's fraught with expectation.
Well, fraught with expectation, but isn't it always going to be a crazy mayhem unless you hire a wedding planner?
No, even then. You know what the big thing about the wedding? Weddings that go really well.
Yeah.
They're not very fun to talk about. I mean, look, okay, so ask me. I just got married. Let's say I just got married.
So I hear you just got married. How'd it go?
Yeah. We know it was great. Everything was perfect.
How was the cake?
Yeah, you see, the cake was wonderful. Yeah. So, I mean, okay, all right.
Well,
now,
wait a minute.
Ask me about my sister's wedding.
I would normally dig deeper, though.
Okay, well, maybe, but ask me
how
about
was your sister's wedding?
Oh, my God. Oh, my.
Tell me about it.
Oh, my God. You're, not even going to believe this.
What happened?
So, it's going along, and all of a sudden.
Who slept with who?
I don't know, but the cake.
Okay, what happened?
So, they're cutting the cake, and he takes the spoon, thing, and he sticks it in her mouth, and she gets this look on her face, and it's just like,
Oh my
pretty
God.
horrific. And she's chewing and she's looking at him and he's looking at her and everybody's looking at them. And then this child's yelling, I want cake, I want cake. So I'm thinking, I want cake. And he grabs a piece of the cake, stuffs it in his mouth, gets this horrid look on his face.
Oh,
I
no,
walk
the
over and
cake
pick
failure.
up the bottom of the cake because they're on glass platters and it's totally green underneath.
Oh, God.
And so this
Now,
is,
are you making this up or
no,
is this
this
true?
is dead ass serious.
This happened at your sister's
This
wedding.
is where you get to find out that people make cakes like days ahead of time, and they put this sealer stuff on the cake.
Mm-hmm.
I had no idea. I didn't know that. But apparently they did not seal the bottom of the cake.
Right.
So it was moldy.
Oh, no.
Oh,
Anyway,
joy.
so see, now that's cool. That's a story. So like if you have this perfect wedding and it was like, oh, it was beautiful, it was perfect, so wonderful, but
I don't
but
feel
that's no
like
fun.
eating my cookies anymore. I'm not feeling like my cookies right now.
So anyway, yeah, that was a long time
Wow.
ago, but that happened at my sister's wedding. So, but the expectation that everything has this kind of, and there he is eating.
I'm
is
grabbing
eating
my
it.
cookie.
See,
I am up
Jesus.
for a cookie.
We're going to talk about impeccability of your word right after this. So there is this whole thing about expectation, and sex is the same thing. People have this expectation of how it's all supposed to go.
I have very high expectations. Thank you.
Yeah, and I'm eating now again, and
Right.
so
Would that be sex expectations?
I'm going to take small bites so I can still talk while I eat.
Right, and they'll
Is
be
that
able to
really
tell.
rude to do on the radio?
I don't know. I mean, they say it's rude to talk with your mouth full at restaurants, but in some cultures, you're supposed to belch at the table.
I know.
So
I just don't know. I don't know. So
if
we'll
you
find
should
out. We'll
start
find out how many
belching,
people
would
I
know
lose.
you're having a good meal.
Right. How many people I lose because I'm actually
Right,
daring
right.
to eat while I have a
Yeah, and
radio
how many of them are going to
conversation.
write you a note saying, Tanya, that was so sexy hearing you masticate while on the air.
There are those type of people. So expectations are a huge thing, and we go into the beginning of the year with those things called. What are those things called? What do we start every year with?
Resolutions?
Thank you very much. You notice I don't do resolutions.
I call them New Year's revolutions.
Resolutions.
'Cause they're changing.
Right.
Or it's like going through a revolving door at a building. You walk in, and if you can't get out of it, you end up shooting back out on the curb.
There you go. Well, okay. So that's a little bit, so the New Year's and the new year, and we're going to do things different. But a lot of the time people make these resolutions and they haven't really put a whole lot of forethought into what went wrong the year before. I mean, why did the things go wrong? What are the big ones? Gym memberships go up. I'm going to work out. I'm going to get in shape. I'm going to get a better job. Maybe, I won't be single anymore. I don't know these things, but they're very non-specific. They're not really set out as goals. They don't really have deadlines to them. They're just ambiguous. And that's why most of them never.
So my goal being I want to feel 10 times more sexy.
Right. 10 times more sexy.
That's really pretty ambiguous.
Yeah. So what? I mean, what's going to make you do that?
That really wasn't. That really
feel?
wasn't my resolution.
I
I don't
understand.
really make resolutions.
I just belched. Oh my
You did?
God.
I missed it.
You didn't hit the dump button, Billy.
No.
Oh.
I can still hit it. It'll do it up to 30 seconds.
That's okay. You can stay with the belt. I didn't even hear it.
Wow.
You need to really belt it out. Just don't send
That
any
was-
particles my way.
That was really tantric. Okay, so then expectations, you got to figure out why. So let's say it was, I want to feel 10 times sexier this year. All right, so how do we go through that process to actually make sure that would happen?
You want to know what I've done to make sure that will happen?
Okay.
Okay. I didn't make a resolution saying, I'm getting to the gym and I'm working out. I just decided I'm going to work out. So I actually had a friend of mine give me a 3-month trial membership to the gym she goes to. All I did was put the thought out there, and bam, it's in my hand. So I've got a 3-month trial membership, and I'm enthusiastic. I want to be doing yoga or some sort of an exercise class, swimming, and I've already started doing that. I didn't say, I have to. I said, I am.
Right.
I am going and I am doing it.
Well, that's one thing. But finding out, so most people start. That's the whole bit. Everybody's at the gym right now. So the highest time of the year when people are at the gym.
Of course.
It's going on, and everybody's on their diet, and everybody's doing their thing. And then mid-February, it's a done deal.
It drops off mid-February.
Well,
that's when my salsa classes end.
Right. So mid-February, March, and the reason being is you took that first step and were motivated and, went out there because there was this expectation. You did this resolution, you're going to do it, it's happening, and you feel good. But let me tell you why most of these things fail. Remember that thing I was telling you about impeccability of your word?
Mm-hmm.
Almost all things fail because we don't trust our own word to ourselves.
Really?
Yeah. So let's say, okay, most of us out there, that have jobs or let's say the majority of people work for somebody.
Mm-hmm.
And they would no sooner just decide they're going to blow them off, for the most part, right?
Blow off their employer.
Yeah, okay, so
to do that.
Yeah, so we're going to start. Let's say you have a new job, and you're going to start that job on the 10th
of January.
Yeah, and so you're pretty psyched or whatever, and you get ready and you do your stuff and you get all your stuff ready, and on the 10th of January you go to work, right?
Right,
and reasonably on time, maybe or
preferably early,
right? And you do that, and you wouldn't not go because it's your employer. And you don't just blow that kind of stuff off, right? People blow their own stuff off all the flippin' time. They will stay accountable to a friend or an employer or somebody else 100 times more than themselves.
Personal accountability, I buy it.
We let ourselves down. We lie to ourselves. We don't trust. We do all of this stuff. I mean, even if it's so much as, okay, tomorrow I'm getting up at 6. I mean, how many times have, or sometime or whatever, tomorrow I'm going to work out. Tomorrow I'm going to clean my room. Tomorrow I'm going to get organized.
I'm working.
Even if it's 10.
No, you nailed me right on that one.
Okay. So I'm going to get up at this time, and then you don't. And these don't seem like huge things, but they are chipping away at the foundation of your personal impeccability. Pretty soon you don't believe yourself. Pretty soon when you say, wow, okay, I want to own my own business, and here's my deadline.
Well, last night, if you'd seen me in the pool, I was starting to question how well I believed myself.
Right, exactly. But you got to think about this, about how many times you've said something to yourself that you're going to do, or to your partner. Usually it's even, if to your partner or kids, you're better. To everybody else, you're probably, not just you, but I'm talking about the majority of us here, more accountable to somebody else than we are ourselves. What do you think, Billy? Yep, absolutely. He's saying absolutely. He's got the wrong headphones on because I always do that to him, fake him out when he's like, oh.
That's okay. That's what I love about this show. You never know what's going to happen.
Right. We bring him in.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, you might blow off something you said you were going to do.
Anything. Whether I need to go get brand new shoes because mine have holes in it. But if my girlfriend is thirsty, I'm going to go get her a drink just because, I can always go get new shoes, whatever.
Right.
It's the fact of the matter is, you're so worried about everybody else. I 100% agree with what you just said.
Right. And so what happens when that happens is that you let yourself down. You start making a pattern of letting yourself down.
Absolutely.
And your personal impeccability and integrity starts getting undermined.
Well, one of my greatest challenges is scheduling something for myself. Whether it's getting a massage. I'm a massage practitioner. We're supposed to take care of ourselves.
Right.
Don't do it.
Right.
So my own healing, or making sure I'm doing some of the things that help my body or my heart or, emotions, what have you, feel good. I rarely schedule my own things.
Right. So when you make these resolutions, it's no wonder most of them fail.
Yeah.
If you were making a promise to somebody else, you have a better chance of keeping it. Now, here's the worst part. You have the best chance of keeping it if you are making it to your boss. Your partner falls right in front of you. So most of us will keep most of what we say to our partner, make it happen, but still not as good as our employer. And
because, the science behind that, we'll lose the job and then we'll lose everything.
Well, but people lose their relationships all the flipping time. People lose their health, their life.
I hear what
people
you're
lose so much of themselves every single day.
Right. Whereas
we do it anyway.
And if they did prioritize their relationship
and themselves.
Ooh, what if they prioritize themselves first?
Wow. Think about it. Here you are.
And we're not talking narcissism here.
No, you're talking about your cup being full, your personal cup being full, plugging up all the holes so all the fullness doesn't run out.
And that goes into what you've said in the past about a man having a mission and sticking to the mission, and having his partner, having his career, having everything be part of his mission, but the mission being paramount. That's ultimately the self being the top of the pyramid, and then everything else will be fulfilled. Not fall under that, but be fulfilled under that.
Right. And Billy threw his mic on there.
Absolutely. I
Just in
had
case.
To,
He's
you know
gotta
what?
get in here.
Yeah, exactly. I have to chime in with my 2 cents. I had a quick question. Do you think that the reason people are more willing to disappoint, whether it be their spouse, significant other, regardless, is it because it's easier to for them to be okay with it? So say I tick off, my girlfriend, whatever. I know that she's going to be okay in 6 hours regardless. She's not going to remember about it. Most likely in 2 hours I go over and kiss her on the cheek, she's going to be fine. Okay?
Yeah.
But even the person downstairs, if I tick him off, this could eventually affect things later on down the line that I could have no control over.
Guess what? It does affect your girlfriend. And just because she's okay doesn't mean it hasn't chinked your relationship cup, and things are leaking out right now as we speak.
Oh, I completely understand where you're coming from.
Right.
But do you think that that's
Yes.
like
Well, if we
that's the only reason I could see? I don't know.
The big problem is that if we don't care for ourselves, if we don't put ourselves impeccability in our word and our care, we cannot do that for anybody else. And the only reason we do it for our boss or other people more is because we're scared and we don't take them for granted.
It's a fear-based stimulus.
Right. I mean, your girlfriend, people take their relationships for granted all the time. People don't take their jobs for granted as much, especially like in today's economy, right?
Jobs tend to get the adrenaline rolling. I
Right.
could lose this. I'm not going to do that.
But yet men cheat on their women cheat on their men. I could lose this is not impetus enough. It's even more than that. Guess what it is? It's societal parental programming. Okay, when you're growing up, your mother and father don't tell you, now you never, ever take your relationship for granted. Don't you ever lie to your spouse or your partner because you can lose them. What do they tell you? You're going to go out, you're going to get a job, right? You have work ethic. You're going to be on time or whatever.
Are you saying
we're
not taught how to have relationships?
Wow, what a surprise. Even with ourselves. We are taught how to have a work ethic.
Right. But
some people. There are some that are questionable, but we're taught to be afraid of, and taught to our career, where our college, everything is geared towards career and how to have a job. And yet, we are starving and dying because we don't know how to have relationships with ourselves, our partners, and our business associates.
Right.
We're taught to be the cog in the wheel. Show up, go to work, do your thing, right? We're not taught that our jobs should be passion-filled either. Not everybody's really nobody says, gosh, you know what? When you grow up, you're going to do exactly what you love.
Yeah, right.
Right? You are going to have the coolest life because you are just going to be like, whatever you want to be, you are going to nail that sucker and be so happy. No, that's not what you hear.
That's one of my projects, by the way.
Go to school, go to college, get a job, and then work hard. Work
then
really
have a
hard.
Family.
Have your family, retire, then you have fun when you retire.
Yeah, right. We can hardly lift it.
Exactly. So we're a little bit screwed up, and of course
nowadays we're not even sure if we'll be able to retire.
Right. So here's the deal. Modern Tantra. This had to come back.
Right.
And in fact, in 2011, we're thinking about Modern Tantra University.
It's got to go there.
Actually having a place where you can go online and actually get the education about love and intimacy and sex and relationships, that it's not happening anywhere else.
Well, one of my things that have been up on my screen lately, one of my New Year's, I can no longer live without things like this existing, is looking at the way that different people learn in our society is causing those who can really succeed in a linear world do well, and those who don't, they struggle. They suffer to find a way to make ends meet. And they're, I guess on both sides we're saying relationships suffer. But, Tantra University, to me, rings in the principle of in native societies, they believe that each person is born with a gift and that it's the responsibility of the village, of their community, to be available for the moment they start to show signs of their gift. Someone in that community is going to resonate. That child's going to be attracted to hanging out with that person, that aunt or uncle or member of their community. They'll start working and hanging out from a very young age, and their gift will be cultivated so that they're having fun because they're drawn to it.
Well, this is when we used to live in tribes.
Yeah, they're making a connection with people. They're offering value from a very young age, and they're getting value back. Physically, emotionally, spiritually.
Well, today we think we're doing that, Joshua. People have their kids so overbooked and so overscheduled by running them here and there to dance class and gym class and this class and that class to decide to find their gift. Mm-hmm. But it's erroneous in how it's happening. Number one, because you'll never find your gift if you don't find yourself. Mm-hmm. And people are waiting until they're 40 and 50 to find themselves. Right. Well, why don't we show our kids who they are? It starts as simple as stop telling your child how they feel.
Stop telling your child how they feel.
Yes. Get up off the floor, Johnny. You're fine. You're not hurt. Get up. Mm-hmm. Oh, wear this jacket, Jimmy. You're cold.
Now, I'll let you know in advance that I am an adamant support of, oh, you don't need your coat? Okay, let's go for that walk.
Right, exactly. People, the other day, everybody thinks I'm crazy. My daughter's outside. It's freezing cold. She's outside in a dress and barefoot. And Max says to me, shouldn't she have a coat on? And I'm like, I don't know. We'll find out. And 2 minutes later, she comes back and gets her coat. Come on. It's like, what's she going to do? Be out there and die? No, we're not in the middle of the Antarctic.
Well, you got to let them discover things on their own like that.
Wow, wouldn't that be amazing?
What concept?
But guiding. So everything starts with awareness. We're talking about these new levels we have going on now, Tantra of awareness. Tantra is just a word for a practice.
Okay.
You get on Google and Tantra means everything. There's so many. It's just mostly they think sex, right?
Right.
Tantra is a practice. And so the Tantra mantra is a sound, yantra is the design, Tantra is the practice. So Tantra of awareness, the practice of awareness. And I'm talking about awareness of energy, awareness of the sky, awareness of the universe in which we live. Deeply understanding that everything is really the same. There are numbers that show up in all sorts of, in music and in math and in DNA and all the rest of this, right? We are all interconnected. And once we understand that, we start to lose that sense of isolation that permeates most of us. That the hardest thing in relationship are the two people have raised to be independent, not interdependent.
Right.
So two independent people are attempting to have a relationship, in that 50-50 relationship that people try to have now is you do this and I do that and we're equals and that's how it needs to be. And we're failing miserably, mainly because, once again, we're not aware that we're not isolated. We're not aware of how our thoughts permeate everything we do and change our direction. We need to become aware. And guess what? We have our first caller of the year.
What?
Yes.
Who's on the line?
I don't know.
Max.
Hey, Max.
Hey.
Hi, baby.
How's it going?
It's good.
Good. Well, I'm glad I got a chance to catch up on the latest topic. Because of the delay, I think I missed, 2 minutes of show?
Maybe.
And
about 90 seconds, yeah.
About 90 seconds, great. And I was calling in to address something a little bit before you concluded there, but talking about some great stuff with the interdependency versus independence, or especially dependency. Better independent than dependent, but what's this stuff with interdependent? One thing I wanted to address was the supposed difference between linear tracking lives and people who are quote unquote good at the linear system of living. These are called functional people. And then
what does that make me?
Let's not go there, Josh.
Okay,
no,
thanks.
actually, you're great because you are very creative and you are very much, in your right brain. You are hilarious and you can bring it on the spot. That's what I love about you. Some people can, they'd be a great comic if they had a bunch of writers and they can deliver it, but you can create it and deliver it on the spot. You're really, really humorous, talented, entertainment-style guy through and through. So I really appreciate
that. After we're done with the show, I'll ask for help from you and Tanya of how to create that into a fulfilling life.
Nice. Well, and this is why I'm calling in. I don't want to take up a lot of airtime, but it really strikes me because I've kind of seen both sides. I won't qualify where I'm coming from, but I think I'm coming right down the middle. No pun intended. So basically, I think that a linear life is something that there's a lot of support for. There's a lot of illusion around this is how it works. You know, like Tanya, you're saying that we're trained from the very beginning to make this important. And I think the main point here is we're saying this is functional. We're saying that this gets us from A to B, A being our birth and B being our death.
Right.
But this is the problem that somehow, you know, creative, let's say a creative type, somebody who's inclined to want to work with the world in a different way rather than, you know, get up, go to work, have a routine, you know, shell it, you know, compartmentalize, wrap everything up tight before you go to bed and do it all again the next day. I think probably both stereotypes are unfortunate and probably untrue, but there's a lot of people living this quote-unquote linear life that, you know, they're not fulfilled. And there's a lot of people who are living a quote-unquote creative lifestyle or have creative capacity that are equally as unfulfilled. And I think the truth is that there's really no support system for living an engaged, passionate, you know, wonderful, happy, creative, and functional life. I mean, so I think that if we say that even by saying that linearity leads to function versus creativity, you know, is implied that it leads to dysfunction and you'll never make enough money being an artist. That's what we hear.
That's what everybody told me.
Yep. So I mean, this is huge, and so it's number one, it's thwarting people, but maybe the only thing that really needs to change is some of the belief around, you know, what a linear life produces. And number two, you know, there's a lot of people trying to live linear lives that are really, really unhappy.
Yeah.
Even the ones that are successful at it, great, but there's a lot of people trying, keyword there, trying to live this kind of life, and it just isn't working. They're not making any money. They don't feel successful. Their relationships are shot. They're, you know, really scared, desperate, lonely, and everything else, and yet that's all they have. So maybe if we just lift the consciousness band, so to speak, we actually, you know, raise the consciousness around, wait a minute, let's just not call it anything. Let's just say you've got one life, this is your whole life, and what are we going to do with it? Let the chips fall where they may. If you wind up as an artist, great. If you don't, fine. You know, what's wrong? You know, if your life is fulfilled, what's wrong with being a CEO or a plant manager or a technician who does the exact same thing every day? You know, I think a lot of people are led astray by these unfulfilled desires, and nobody really knows authentically what they want, what really drives them. So if you start at the beginning, create a life that is filled with passion, and you're getting support for these kinds of things, I think education along that line would go a long way in fixing people at any stage of the game, wherever they think they are or wherever they actually are.
Well, the biggest problem, Max, is that once again, in awareness or Tantra of self, anything like that, is that parents are not raising their children because they weren't raised that way, and, you know, to actually be full potential humans. We're raising people to be smart, raising people to be, quote unquote, functional, raising people to go get a job. We aren't raising people to fully feel everything in their body. We're not raising our children to embrace all aspects of themselves, or even understand what all aspects of themselves, what it is, what does it look like, and so that's part of the problem. Tantra of self, when we're teaching that, it's about finding out who you are, because we need all of these things in life. And I still defy people, you know, and Tantra for me, when I embarked on that, actually taught me how to use both sides of my brain in equal right. And as you know, I am both, can be highly, quote unquote functional and really artistic at the same time. And so there is no reason why we can't have full faculties.
That's exactly right. See?
But we do get pushed into being, quote unquote, smart, being organized, being, in our heads, and forgetting about the rest of our body as though it were some type of luxury. Mm-hmm. And when we do that, we are in conflict. We're in conflict between both halves of our brain. We're in conflict between our heads and our bodies, and conflict leads to suffering and fear and dysfunction.
Mm-hmm. And that also extends outward through the community. We are witnessing the collective consciousness and the collective conflict among ourselves. I mean, in this country, probably worldwide.
Yeah. So, this is our mission, Modern Tantra, is to we're doing it, and hopefully everybody else will be jumping on board to unlearn some things we need to unlearn, and educate on some of the things we need to educate on. But anybody that thinks that a job or a career is more important than their own personal relationship with themselves or others has no idea what it is that they are missing in their life. They will not ever get to the full capacity. They might make a lot of money. Mm-hmm. You can make a lot of money disregarding yourself and others. But it doesn't mean you're going to be successful as a human. Might just mean you've been successful in business.
And there's a lot of people, high-level executives, any range of people who've had a lot of success in a specific area that they had a skill at, but it didn't feed their heart, or it didn't help their relationship be successful with themselves or with others. They neglected to be available for their family because they were working so hard to achieve a career goal.
Or they didn't actually know how to be connected to their family.
Ooh, right.
That's usually mostly it. If you don't know how to be connected to yourself, how do you know how to be connected to anybody else?
Right.
You don't. Hey, Max, we're going to go take a break.
Sounds good. Thank you for hearing me out. Yep.
Oh, of course. I always love to hear you on the radio.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
And we'll see everybody, or we'll hear. You guys will all hear us in just a few minutes. We'll be back after this break and these cookies that I'm going to eat.
Are you one of the 40 million sexless couples in the U.S.? Are you wondering why having sex leaves you feeling lonely? Are you suffering from the myths of sexual dysfunction? Do you know in your heart that there has to be more than what you're currently getting out of making love? To rid yourself of sexual ignorance, get more out of your lovemaking, and find out more about spiritual sexual connection, then you need to check out www.thetantrateacher.com to receive your free copy of the ebook called Secrets of the Tantra Teacher. Don't suffer another minute without the sexual loving and ecstatic bliss you were born to receive. Get to www.thetantrateacher.com right now. That's www.thetantrateacher.com.
Did you know that you can rate this show on iTunes? The show you're listening to right now. It's true. You can leave your thoughts about the show, the topic, the guest. You can even leave a suggestion. Then, before you leave, rate the show. The hosts love hearing from you, so next time you download this show from iTunes, leave your thoughts and rate the show, for the host and for others.
Is your sex life non-existent? Do sexual dysfunctions leave you soft? Is internet porn getting more than you are? Or are you paying more attention to porn than your partner? Have you tried talk therapy and it got you nowhere? You are not alone. You can be freed from sexual shame, guilt, and dissatisfaction. A visit to the Tantra Teacher is in order. Call now and mention you heard the Tantra Teacher on the radio and get a very special offer. Stop waiting for a miracle and call right now. 206-276-2735. Phone consultations or in person will get you the information you need to be successful in your love life. But you have to call now. 206-276-2735. Stop making excuses. Call the Tantra Teacher. 206-276-2735.
It's really hard to laugh when you have cookies in your mouth. So
I appreciate that you didn't, because I'd be wearing those cookies.
Blow them all over you.
Yeah.
How many cookies can you eat in a break? These are actually pretty good.
It's like carb loading.
I know, really. So you'd think I'd be like, "Whoa!" just freaking out or something like this at this point. All right, we are back, and we have a couple of things to address here. I'm looking for the email. Somebody sent me a question, and I am looking for that. And
was it specific?
Where did it go? Yeah, it was. Oh, there it is. I put it under my own name. So, yeah, let's see. So we get a lot of these questions about the quote-unquote blue ball situation.
Right. So,
lover experiencing pain during long lovemaking sessions, several hours, even with eventual ejaculation. And so this person wants to know does this mean because her partner is keeping all his sexual energy restricted to his genitals instead of moving it through his body? So how can we help this situation? Well, first of all, yes. Anytime there's that kind of there's that arousal feeling when everything's tight and aroused, and then there's that, oh my God, this really hurts because it's gone past arousal and it's all contracted and not relaxing.
Right.
And we've talked about ice packs and stuff like that. You can do that, but what I wasn't clear with, because this is what happens with questions, how we get those questions and we're never really clear, is whether or not his testicles were really still contracted hard up against his body.
Right.
Or whether they had relaxed and dropped already and he was feeling that way.
Doesn't that happen when they're about 13 that they drop?
Yeah.
A different thing. We're talking about a different thing.
Right.
Sorry.
So, when a man is fully aroused, the testicles are, shrink up or, pull up tight up against
they go into
the body.
warrior state. Too much movement. Suck them up.
And, so if that stays like that for a long time, that can be pretty painful after a while.
Right.
In that instance, putting your hand between your body and the testicles gently and then just slowly pushing downward.
So a guy to basically take a hold of them with the thumb and the index finger.
Okay grip, right?
The okay grip. And gently kind of wringing them down.
Right. Gently, to your tolerance.
Yeah.
And that will help with that, with breathing down.
Because that lengthens the vas deferens and also relaxes the muscles, the ligaments that are pulling up.
Right. So you'd be pushing out like you were having a bowel movement at that time, pushing down as you did that. So you relax.
Make sure you've already gone to the bathroom at that moment.
Or sit on the toilet while you do it. Right. Exactly. So that's one way to do that. Now, if they were indeed already relaxed and the person was still experiencing that pain, then it might have just been a very long, so then it could very well be like having a sore muscle after working out really long time. So, so there's a lot of different things here. One, yes, if there's too much sexual energy still stored in that area, you're still going to be in high blown arousal. And that probably means that there hasn't been, usually ejaculating helps that. Now, if it's been tight and the muscles have been contracted for a long time, there can be soreness just from that.
Well, soreness or in the therapy world, we call it ischemia, where a muscle stayed taut for so long, it's lost blood circulation, it's built up lactic acid.
Yep.
Like a muscle cramp, it's holding tight, but at the same time, it needs oxygen and it needs blood. It needs that liquid to move through the muscle.
So light massage can help, to reinvigorate.
Well, light massage, but behind the testicles in the perineum area. Right.
And so that kind of answers those questions. So, yes. And so then the question would be, is there anything you can do to help without, I love this, I have to read this part. Is there anything I can do to help him without going all tantrika on him and freaking him out? As far as, the whole teaching him about the fact that there's a lot of energy stored in there. And that would be breathing. Helping him breathe. Hey, I heard that there's the breathing, deep breathing works to relax your body. So the other thing about deep breathing is it's also going to move sexual energy throughout the entire body and not keep it stored in just one place.
Well, my mind the wheels are spinning now when she says without going all tantrika on him. I'm curious about this. That implies that she's been studying about Tantra or learning about it or reading about it, and she's just kind of bringing things into the bedroom rather than talking about Tantra.
Well, she says he's not quite open to that yet.
Not quite open to that yet.
Right.
Okay.
Now, I've never met a man who wasn't open. Well, let me say, okay, there's been a couple.
Mm-hmm.
Very few men are not open to having better sex.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Now, finding the words, though, it's tough for a lot of men to hear anything that would imply
you don't want
that
to
they're
tell
not.
them
Right.
that you need to do this because I need better sex.
Right.
That's not a good idea. So for women, always the best way to approach something is to say, you know what? I've been reading things that make me really interested in having more sex. Whoa!
I read something in one of my magazines.
Right. I've read something that makes me want to try different things in the bedroom with you. Are you open to that? You know, most men are like, oh, okay.
Tell me about that.
Tell me about that. So breathing is one of those things that's going to help energy circulate through the body. And gentle massage if there is pain later. We've got products that we're working on that explains all this. And then in Tantra of Self, we talk about for men how to manage their sexual energy, their arousal and ejaculation management, and manage and mastery. In Tantra of Relations, we're going to be discussing sexual escapades with others and how to do that.
Wow.
I know. How cool is that?
Let me know when I'm at that level.
I know, right? Exactly. So hopefully that answers some of those questions there. That the whole blue ball thing. But it seems to me, based on what she says, talks about his age and talks about the experience, that probably it was more about being contracted for so long.
Yeah, and also, you know, if we're talking about if he's still not ready to try the tantric way. Not open to exploring, you know, just in that direct conversation, then one can assume, like many guys, he's hoping to be the porn star, and so it's a lot of pretty assertive, active movement through most of the intimacy, and it puts a lot of demands on a Vajra.
Right.
Puts a lot of demands on the systems in the body and the muscles that are producing and sustaining arousal. And in that perspective, then it also becomes, you know, for a guy, how long can I stay erect? And if I ejaculate, can I actually get aroused again and stay? So it's sort of a quantity game. And that can get exhausting, and that can really make the muscles raw that are part of that ejaculatory process. So being able to ejaculate less but get even more pleasure out of intimacy. Yeah.
That's a good thing.
I think so. I mean, you know, I don't know how long she's talking about, but, you know.
Well, I mean, and you know, that's the other thing, okay? Long. So, you know, when you ask a group of women, you know, how long sex, I mean, some women think 10 minutes was really long.
Right.
Other women, 30 minutes, you know, we're talking intercourse. Just the intercourse part was long. There are occasional women, you know, that are talking about men going for an hour at intercourse. And once again, you know, I've said, and somebody else wrote to me about this, I said that there are a lot of women out there that don't like extended sex or sex lasting a really long time. And let me qualify that by saying what I'm talking about is mindless pounding sex.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, because everybody gets raw and tired. I'm not talking about connected lovemaking where, you know, there's changes and there's movement.
There's changes and the arousal's high such that, especially for the woman, it's almost it's not if and when she has an orgasm, it's that the experience is orgasmic. It's that there's enough pleasure and arousal that the whole experience, or as much of it as possible, and they orchestrate together, the men and the woman orchestrate together the arousal and the different levels of pleasure that they're both experiencing, rather than, again, pounding and the guy checking out to see how long he could last.
Ejaculation management is what we call that, the disconnect to last a long time. I think I'm in a sugar. I think I'm gonna have a sugar coma.
Do you need me to move these cookies further away?
I think my binge is causing a sugar coma. When I fall out of the chair, you know, you guys are just be heroic, and
that would be,
you know,
a hyperglycemic moment.
Right, like a hyperglycemic moment.
Yeah,
and I'd
too
like from
much
hyper
sugar
to hypo.
With that,
anyway, this is
Coca-Cola
this is fun. Woohoo! Yeah, okay, I'm having some fun now. So I think, you know, I'm going to keep harping on this year. Basically, techniques, philosophies, people want to know, how do I do this? How do I do that? Blah, 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 blah. I'm going to keep coming back to the first thing you need to do. I started this off with New Year's resolutions and that type of thing, why we fail. The first thing I want all of you that are listening to me do is forget your resolution. God, why is that so difficult?
Well, you heard me say revolution before.
Okay. So forget your resolutions until you do this. I want you to contemplate how trustworthy you are with yourself. The first thing I want you to do is check your own impeccability and your own integrity. And really, that would be the resolution for the year.
Is to be impeccable.
With your word.
Ooh.
Don Miguel Ruiz, 4 Agreements. Great book.
Be impeccable with your word.
Be impeccable with your word. Let me tell you, that is tough. If you tell somebody you're going to be there, you're there. If you say you're going to get something done, you're done. But even more, impeccable with your word with yourself.
You mean I'm not allowed to lie to myself anymore?
No, you can't tell yourself things and then not do them. Because you start to lack confidence and you start to know that you're untrustworthy. And then guess what? Guess what that leads into? I mean, that leads into feeling not worthwhile making money. That feels like you're not worth it to get the woman you want or the job you want or the life you want. Because after all, if you keep lying to yourself and letting yourself down, how cool of a person can you be?
So you're saying I should only set achievable goals and get pissed off at myself if they're not high enough.
No, I'm telling this to everybody, not just you.
Well, yeah, but
this is my resolution.
I got to personalize it. I'm speaking for the greater audience.
Right. This is my resolution for the year. And, I looked back at my last few years and it's like, I really, really need to. So now most people think I'm pretty impeccable, but I know that there's room for improvement because just because I'm impeccable with everybody else doesn't mean I'm as impeccable with myself. And
even sometimes, walking around with desires. And even for me, saying, I don't know where to start, but walking around with the desires, not knowing where to start is not an excuse to not start.
Exactly. And now here's another thing. Okay, my Inner Circle program last year, right?
Yeah.
I've got an opening. I've got 2 of the guys re-upped this year. They're going for another year because it was so amazing last year. They don't want to miss something else.
Well, their lives, we could say they've profited, but they've progressed in their lives emotionally, spiritually, business-wise, relationship-wise,
Big quantum leaps. So I've got room for one more this year. And probably, I've got a pretty busy year, so maybe 2 more. And I'll talk more about that at a different time. But one of the things to contemplate in that is that when we, when we're accountable, like say I've said, okay, so now you have to be accountable to yourself. Sometimes you need some help with that. So that's where the coaching comes in to help keep you in that space. But here's the deal. I can make this really simple. And if you get this and you're listening to me and you get this, you probably need nothing else ever again for the rest of your life because you're about to have all the answers. And that's a bold statement. This is the condensed
teachings
of Tanja
Diamond.
This is the condensed teachings right here.
It's the 2-minute.
There's fear and there's movement. Okay, there's contraction and expansion. Those are the same things that I just said. Most people are reading everything in the world they can to figure out how to eliminate fear. How to get through fear, how to do all of these things. Let me tell you something. There's no such thing as eliminating fear. Fear is a very important emotion to have in your life. It keeps you safe most of the time. The secret is you do things anyway. Now, a lot of people are waiting for the little fear voice to go away or for something to change, and so they can have the courage to move on. No. You make a plan to take a step, and then you are trustworthy enough to do it because you told yourself you were going to. That's it. If everybody followed that plan, you'd be in a lot better space.
I'll buy that.
And we let ourselves down time and time again with excuses and BS and all sorts of worthless things. We don't need to do that.
Right.
Really? What we need to do is assess what we want, truly, truly desire in our hearts, even if we're afraid of it, and then take a step. And what you can do is every night before you go to bed, you can just write down 2 or 3 things that you want to do the next day that you're going to do.
Right.
And when you get up in the morning, do them. Just do them.
Mm.
You know, Nike had it when it said just do it. I mean, really, that's the bottom line. If you have fear, you have whatever it is you have, whatever excuse you think you're having, you just got to get over it.
Mm.
And there's no magic bullet except moving, taking a step.
Right.
Movement creates energy. And that's all you need is the energy to move forward. So we got to get rid of our stories, and we need to really, really think about this year in terms of impeccability to ourselves. And I'd really like to hear what you thought about this. I'd really like you to email me, call me, whatever it is. Put me on Facebook me. And I'm on Facebook, you know, Tanja Diamond, Tanja, and or Twitter, whatever. Tell me what you thought about this. Tell me if you had an epiphany or an aha moment when you realize that your impeccability to yourself and your self-love and is all not what it should be. And I guarantee you that's what's holding you back. We have a sponsor.
We do have a sponsor.
We want to talk about our sponsor. We're going to talk about them last today and shake that up. Because nobody's told me about the mysterious sensuous gift, right?
Oh.
So here's the deal. We have a sponsor. They're named, that's AdamandEve.com.
AdamandEve.com.
AdamandEve.com is a great adult toy store.
I love visiting their website.
That you must go visit. Yes, you might run into Josh there. So if you're looking to spice things up in the bedroom, or you've been fantasizing about surprising your lover with an adventurous new toy or something, then here's an offer you can't resist. You can go to AdamandEve.com, and for a limited time, you're going to get 50% off just about any item in the store.
50% off. This is a post-holiday gift to you.
Right. There is no excuse. Get that. But that's not all. Oh, no.
But wait.
That's right. There's more. When you select your one item at 50% off, you'll also receive 3 free adult DVDs.
3 free adult DVDs which you can watch yourself or with somebody else.
That's right, or a bunch of people. Plus a free gift. This is my favorite. A free gift. So sensual that I can't mention it on the radio.
They won't even tell us what it is.
I know. That's driving me crazy. And to top it all off, we'll even throw in free shipping on your entire order. And no, we're not teasing, and neither are they.
Not teasing.
They are very serious.
Let me tell you this. Go to AdamandEve.com. Buy something great, 50% off.
That's right. And what you need to do to get that 50% off is you need to type in my name, which is
TANJA.
In the offer code on the checkout.
That's the promotion code.
That's right.
TANJA.
Correct. When you do that, you're going to get your 3 free DVDs, your free extra sensuous unspeakable gift, and free shipping. Just use the offer code TANJA at AdamandEve.com. All right. So there you go. And you should check that out and see what you come up with. And then email me and tell me what that sensuous gift is.
Right.
Making me a little crazy. All right. I told you that there were going to be a lot of new things happening at Learning Tantra, which is all now moderntantra.com as well. New websites coming up. They're not out yet, so still go to learningtantra.com. Speaking at the Women of Wisdom conference in February in Seattle on February 13th.
Women of Wisdom.
1:30 to 4:30 on the Art of Tantra for Women.
I keep asking if I can go, and they keep telling me you're not a woman of wisdom, Josh.
I've got this month. This month, I'm going to be in Vancouver, Canada, teaching a men's class on the 30th. Get to my website. It's a men's class about tantric sex, about penile enlargement, and about ejaculation mastery. So I
could take a whole new direction with my Vajra.
That's right. It's an amazing class. And that's on the 30th, and you can get to my website at learningtantra.com. Look under workshops and classes. That would be under classes, and you can sign up there. Stay tuned. Lots of goodies, lots of things. And I swear to God, one of these days my book will actually be out. I do promise that.
I think we'll just publish it on the air. We'll read it on the air.
That's what we'll just start doing. We're just going to start reading it chapter by chapter to you, and there we go. So you want 20 free videos answering the questions men and women ask me? You got to get to learningtantra.com/free HTML, and you will get 20 of my latest videos. Get over there, sign up. 20 free videos.
So go to learningtantra.com/free
HTML. And get those videos and then tell me what you think. All right. We will talk to you guys all next week. And we're out.